China briefing, 22nd of March 2023, Chinese tariffs against Australian coal imports are being lifted due to victory. China attempted to start a trade war with Australia by forbidding Australian goods, which resulted in significant power cuts throughout China. According to reports, China ended all trade limitations that had been put in place for Australian coal imports in late 2020. The action will help those involved in bilateral commerce between the two nations feel more confident doing business. This piece discusses the most recent changes and how they affect bilateral trade and future ties between China and Australia. What transpired to cause China to lose the trade conflict with Australia? According to Bloomberg, all domestic Chinese businesses are permitted to import coal from Australia, suggesting that trade with China has effectively ended as of late 2020. According to sources, ports and customs officials have been told to permit imported cargo from abroad, including coal from Australia. The restriction had already been partly relaxed earlier this year when 4 significant state-backed importers were authorized to purchase Australian coal, which started to be shipped in January. China's National Development and Reform Commission, NDRC, allegedly discussed the possibility of resuming coal imports from Australia at the time with several government-sponsored utilities and a steelmaker. Why is it essential that China lost the trade conflict and was exposed for what it is? If the claim is confirmed, it will significantly improve Sino-Australian relations because China's de facto prohibition on importing coal and other goods from Australia failed and negatively affected the country's power production sectors. China's importance to Australia's coal? China's steelmakers and power plants strongly desire high-quality Australian coal. According to Bloomberg sources, imports of Australian coal could hit 1 million tons in just the first half of March. In 2017, China, the world's biggest producer and consumer of coal, imported more than 290 million tons of fuel. Following the Bloomberg story, losses were cut in half for Australian coal mining stocks Yancoal and New Hope. Until an unofficial ban was implemented because of heightened political tensions between the two nations, China was a significant consumer of Australian coal. According to Australian government representatives, removing the embargo would be critical in mending fences between the two countries. 1.35 million tons of coal had been transported from Australia to China as of March 13, 2023, a significant rise from 0.82 million tons the month prior. By the end of March, it is anticipated that coal imports will reach 2.6 million tons, which will definitively cement the recovery of coal imports in the nation that China urgently needs. The volume of coal imported is considerably lower than before the deterioration in diplomatic relations in mid-2020. Despite the possibility that the resumed imports signal a warming of relations between the two nations. China had purchased 3.4 million tons of thermal coal from Australia and 3.9 million tons of coking coal in February of that year, as most of Australia's coal had found other markets. For China to continue operating internationally, business confidence must increase. Even though a formal statement has not yet been made, it is believed that coal is the first of several Australian products that may one day be allowed to enter China again, including lobster, wine, logs, cotton, and barley. The two central powers have had tense relations for a long time, culminating in a broad trade embargo on several goods, most notably coal. Australian coal, regarded as reliable and affordable, has long been used in the nation's manufacturing sectors. As of last year, China was the world's top producer and user of coal, importing more than 290 million tons. According to the data, the prohibition has caused a supply gap in China's manufacturing and energy sectors, which recently went through an energy crisis. Beijing has been forced to seek coal supplies elsewhere after discovering they are low quality, including in Mongolia, Russia, and Indonesia. As businesses prepare for the restart of trade and investment in both China and Australia, news of a possible lifting of the ban provides a much-needed confidence boost. Since the Labour Party of Australia, led by Anthony Albanese, came to power in May 2022, ties between the two nations have improved. The Labour Party has historically maintained friendly relations with China. These relations are anticipated to be repaired but never be the same as the confidence has been lost. Although this information is still a rumor, there is a reason for hope because Chinese companies are eager to restart trade between the two markets, including importing Australian goods like beef and wine from China after coal. What will happen to China-Australia ties next? Since late 2022, China-Australia relations have been improving, and the Chinese government has been corresponding with Australia about easing trade restrictions from political tensions. The G20 summit in Indonesia in November 2022 saw the first official encounter between Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Chinese President Xi Jinping since 2016. Last month, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese requested a conference between Wang Wentao, China's Commerce Minister, and Don Farrell, the nation's Trade Minister. This gathering aims to discuss and find a solution to the trade problems involving the two countries. The bilateral trade relationship between the two countries is anticipated to strengthen further in 2023 as political tension between the two nations has subsided, and China has abandoned zero-COVID in favor of refocusing on economic development. Businesses in related fields should prepare for the upcoming changes, but beware of the Chinese bearing gifts because he has already revealed his true colors to you.